I'd like to call to order the Wyoming Valley West School District work session for Wednesday, August 7th at 7:21 PM. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Damascus,
Here.
Mr. Hardwick,
Here.
Mr. Keating,
Here.
Mr. McGinley,
Present.
Mr. Perfetto, Mr. Kubuski,
Here.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Here.
Mr. Kamis.
Here. A moment of silence. Salute the flag, please.
Mr. Camus, I would like to add, I'd like to, like everyone in attendance, to please keep in your thoughts and prayers a former Wyoming Valley West School District Administrator, Mr. Bill Bosso, who was a principal for a number of years, recently passed away, as well as a gentleman by the name of Thad Meslowski, who was a custodian over Chester Street. Please keep them as well as their family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to announce there was an executive session held prior to this meeting to discuss potential litigation. Statements from interested citizens. Ms. Baroza, please.
Hi, Amy Carosa, 44. I don't think this is will be a long question, but number 7 under general recommended action, the positions of head physician, school physician, and school dentist. I was just wondering if you might be able to expound on the job descriptions. Are these full-time positions? I'm assuming they're new positions, and like where the office will be located. Are they 3? I'm assuming it's 3 positions. If you could give me a little bit more detail on that.
Tosh,
I mean, they're just positions that we fill to help out at the football games with physicals, that type of thing. They aren't employees per se where they're located in the district. They still have their private practices, and I think they may get a stipend. It might be like $1,500 or so. They actually do a tremendous service to the district.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that
Yeah.
you guys do the physicals for all
Yeah,
of the
but
sports.
they're
They're not like a full-time. I was thinking it
No,
was
they
like a
have their
full-time.
private practices, and they, on the side, they'll come like the night of the football game, the doctor will be here, that type of thing.
I gotcha. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Sounds about.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Carosa. Before we go into committee reports, with site log, you want to do that presentation for us, please? Okay.
Amy, that was subcontractors. I was reminded because I had a block.
Great, thank you. I'm Andrew Zwally with SiteLogic. Tonight with me is Barry Lyons. Mr. King is here as well in the audience. But we're going to be providing a construction update on the work taking place at the middle school and 3rd Avenue. We're going to go through the work that has been completed, the work that remains, and then entertain any questions from the board about our progress. So you'll see here are some photos of the progress at Third Avenue. See, we've laid down the new roof surface. The new boiler has been installed. And then on the left-hand side there, you'll see where the new fascias and gutters are going in. So to this point, as far as the boiler installation is concerned, we have mechanical and electrical trades are complete. We are hoping to have a testing date by the end of this week when that boiler can be up and running and tested. As far as the roof installation, we're nearly complete there. The only thing that remains, as you can see there, are there's 2% of the fascias and sheet metal trims that remain. And as far as gutters are concerned, we're about a quarter to halfway complete with the gutters around the exterior of the roof system. So that is the update for Third Avenue. As far as,
Not to cut you off, so when do we expect to be 100% complete? Do we have a date yet, or?
yeah, I think as far as the gutters are concerned, we would say next 2 to 3 weeks at maximum.
So we see no reason why that won't be done by the start of the 2024 school year.
Yeah, no reason.
Okay.
As far as the boiler test, obviously we'll have to, that's going to require some coordination, but the idea is that that system is, well up and running prior to, the heating season.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of the state for them to bring their inspectors in. So it's usually a 2-week lead time, okay? But yeah, it will be operational and efficient by the heating season, but for the most part, it'll be 100% for the next season.
Yeah, and obviously what's most critical to us and everybody involved is for parent is that, when we say school starting on, where do we start, the fourth or fourth or fifth?
Wednesday.
That we're ready to put kids in the building.
Yeah, and all the equipment, the exterior will be removed and the site will be cleaned up. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And on that school, we're taking a proactive role. We're gonna have the exterior railings painted as well as the columns on the school, just get more of a presentable look to the building, make it more finished. So that was on us to do that.
Perfect.
Awesome. Better presentation for the school when it comes to it.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Andrew, very quickly, that's all coming in within the initial budget?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So here's some photos of progress photos of the middle school. Gonna jump to the next slide. I mean, there's quite a bit of photos that we're trying to show here. It's just as far as to document some of the progress. Some of these photos are 2 or 3 weeks old, but again, just trying to document our progress throughout construction.
Yeah, so let's just go back to the other slide if you don't mind. So, on the first slide where the long curves are shown, we're getting all the roof areas ready for the equipment to be set at one time. Okay, so that's the purpose of that. You'll see some stands in the back that are called Bigfoot stands. And those where the condensers are set, the lighter weight equipment are set on. To the right side is your line sets that are going from floor up to the attic to the condensers, to all the PRF systems, just so you understand what the pictures are. And then there'll be a chase put around that. You can close that. The picture to the left, basically they put speed cables on the light fixtures. Those are new light fixtures that were hung prior to the acoustical grid. On to the left or to the right side, or when they're hung down, it makes it a faster and more efficient installation to support the light fixture. So we did put some of the perimeter ceiling tile in place, and once that's enclosed, it'll really make it look like a finished look. So all the ceilings will be in place by the time school starts. Okay. The first picture on the left is when the switchgear went into the building. Middle picture is the switchgear. And the right side picture is after the asbestos removal of the cabinet period.
Yeah, so just overall, progress update. The ceiling grid is 85% complete. Ceiling cassettes, which is where the VRF system is coming in, 80% complete, new lighting, 80% complete. As Barry mentioned, the electrical gear is set and terminated. The Aeon air handling units are set and being piped. We believe HVAC installation will begin on August 26th and take about 3 weeks to set those units. As far as the cafeteria is concerned, you see a little bit of our schedule here. Asbestos removal and demolition was completed on July 19th. Electrical and mechanical rough-ins are ongoing. The audiovisual equipment rough-ins are set to begin next week. Drywall bulkheads and ceilings, I know that says begin this week. That's actually set to begin tomorrow. And then, subsequently to that, lighting and HVAC finishes will follow. And then obviously the painting, flooring, kitchen reinstallation will follow that.
So the main crux of the purpose of the cafeteria was the failure of the inspection by the state. And one of the main issues was flooring. Okay. So one, we removed the asbestos flooring. Two, the flooring product is being delivered tomorrow to replace that flooring. The installer is actually set up for next week to start flash patching the floor. The bulkheads will be started tomorrow. And then we will follow with the ceiling grid and the flooring within the kitchen area so that the kitchen equipment can be set, and then follow the finishes for the other areas as well as the stairs.
Yeah, and just so we're, to make as a matter of clarity, we will be reinstalling the kitchen equipment that was there when it was disconnected. There is new kitchen equipment that has been ordered that has been delayed. And so that kitchen equipment will be installed. It just will not be installed, the prior to the beginning of the school year.
Will there be an additional cost to hook up the new equipment?
So the kitchen order was handled by the district. I'm not sure if the installation of that was included in the cost. But there's no.
Yeah, what we had was the reconnection of the existing equipment that was plumbed, like the sinks that were taken out temporarily. We're going to reconnect those. The exhaust hood is still there, but I think there's some gas lines for the stoves. We're reconnecting that equipment, but that's all the installation that was included us. We're doing the rough-ins for the new equipment for the layout that was given to us by Mr. Dickton. So yeah, we'll be ready for that equipment to be installed.
But
I think it's handled by Airmark, if I'm not mistaken, the installation. Is that correct?
Yeah, the kitchen equipment was ordered separately outside of our contract. The installation of that, I would presume, is included in the Airmark, the order through Airmark. So one of the questions obviously that we got is about, when our area is going to begin to be turned over to Mr. Cordes and his team to start the process of putting the building back together and cleaning. So we met with him, our project management team met with him this afternoon. We exhaustively reviewed kind of the schedule of of events and laid out. What you're seeing is just one of the floor plans. That floor plan, what you're seeing right there, is for the second floor. We obviously shared the first floor and basement, but we met with him, reviewed this to determine that he was comfortable with the amount of time that we'd be giving for each area so that he could begin to move through the building and providing a clean space for the students and staff to arrive for the beginning of the school year. So each area of the building has been identified with a date that we turned over. So a couple of key distinctions here. There are areas shown on here that have already been turned over to the district and can be turned over subsequently, now to start cleaning, because, there are areas of the building that we weren't touching. Specifically that upper level of the gym, the upper level of the auditorium. So those areas, they can get in and begin the cleaning process for the school year. So that process has started. There are areas that you're seeing here that have already been turned over to the district to begin that cleaning process for the school year.
Yeah. So this afternoon, I got here late. I'm sorry I couldn't be here for the client meeting earlier today. But I talked with the team about putting up some dust protection, you know, at the end of corridors. So when it separates the area from clean areas to dirty areas, and we'll make that progression around the building. We also talked about some switching of rooms or what have you. But our intent is to have the rooms put back in condition. We are going to have some, we may not have all the walls painted, you know, in the classrooms, but that will be done on night shift, you know, after school starts. It won't affect the teaching process of the school. The areas where, you know, the old unit ventilators were taken out, we're going to put temporary measures down until we patch that floor and have it in place on a more permanent. That will be done in the evenings, okay, after school starts. You know, that's probably only about, you know, a 2 foot by 6 foot area in each classroom, okay?
Yeah, so one thing I just want to make very clear, and this was a question that we had received, is about what work is going to remain during the school year. We are very much committed to providing on September 4th, a building that is, number one, safe for all students and staff, and number two, the best environment it can be to educate. We're committed to that. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that that is the outcome for the school district. That I say that with the caveat being there is going to be work that will remain through, you know, October and then punch out into November. The one thing, you know, so we were asked with some specificity to provide areas. I can say that, you know, on September 4th, the second floor group toilet rooms for the boys and girls will not be, you know, ready for the start of the school year. That may linger into the second or third week of the school year.
And so to help Mr. Portis out, and if he does get into a pinch, we're prepared to bring in additional janitorial staff on our time as well. So we're not going to put the district at a pinch to have 50 people here at one time in the last few days of the start of the school.
And I won't,
Thank you very much for that. I mean, that's very important. I mean, just like everybody in this country, everybody's a little bit short-staffed and they're overworked, right? So Mr. Cortez is stepped up and he's doing a remarkable job for this district, but you know, he is short-staffed
Yeah.
and we have.
yeah,
to make
and
sure
I don't
that-
want to speak for him. I mean, I think he was comfortable with the schedule that we laid out. I think the sequencing of moving from the second floor, by the time the second floor is prepared for the school year, he would be able to move into the first floor, and then, you know, the basement is obviously lingering last.
So part of the, you know, we talked about the asbestos pipe in the basement a little bit, and that is causing a little bit of the 3 rooms to be delayed. So there's a little concern. So that's where we're going to be bringing in people to help the process of cleaning those rooms, getting them ready and have them ready for the 4th. So.
Yeah, and we obviously remain in constant contact with the administration about any changes to this. We understand, you know, that there's 4 weeks to go for the beginning of the school year, but we remain confident that this building will be prepared for the start of the school year. So that is what we have as far as a construction update. I know we were asked to present some costs related to Third Avenue. Happy to talk about that now, or happy to talk about that later.
So answer this one question. Ultimately, from the sounds of it, it sounds like the second week of September is we're going to be able to turn the AC on in this building.
That would be the ultimate best case scenario. I don't want to commit
Yeah.
to that.
By our schedule in the contract with you, we do show work up until November. We don't plan on that. We're trying to better that. But we do have that.
Yeah, absolutely. I get
You
it.
know, and
Yeah,
that's for snafu purposes. You know, best laid plans is what we're trying to give you.
yeah, I would say we'd have a much better sense on to that question next week.
Okay.
We are working to that end to get air conditioning in this building while it's still, you know, warm outside.
That'd be awesome.
Guaranteed, heating will be in place.
Yeah, that's no question. Yeah.
It's a little questionable. There are areas that we are more ahead than others. So we're on that end, but I do want another week to just give you that permanent answer.
Thank you. We'd appreciate that. and We're looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, and we're happy to entertain any questions the board may have. But yeah, I mean, we remain in constant contact with the administration about these timelines.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do. Please. Uh, took a little tour at 4 o'clock today, just to get an idea of what's going on. Down in the cafeteria, there are puddles of water.
Puddles of water.
Oh, I think there was a leak in the roof system, and that was reviewed, and I think that
In the cafeteria or the wrestling room?
The cafeteria,
I believe there was a leak.
I would want to check on that.
Yeah, I'm, okay, maybe I'm getting the leaks confused.
Yeah. There was a leak identified in the cafeteria, or I'm sorry, in the wrestling room. That was related to a loose valve. That is a result of construction, so that's being taken care of by us. Yeah, that was our responsibility. But I
There's
don't,
2 rooms that involved that were replacing the carpets.
Yes.
One's a coach's
but
room.
I'd have to inspect. This is the first time I'm hearing about that.
well, it's quite obvious. If you walk down there, you'll be able to see several areas that do have water laying there. So I don't know how you can put a floor in without, resolving that issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second thing that I have to say, and I certainly appreciate all the work and time everybody's put in, but I really think we're going to have a difficult time being totally ready to start a school. And when we say the start of school, September 4th is the actual date. But teachers and other people like to come into the building beforehand to prepare their classrooms and get things ready for this, first day. And that's a very important time for a lot of people. And so whatever can be done, they'll have some time there in the beginning of the school year so that these people, our professional staff particularly, but many other people have that time to prepare and get their classrooms in order. I know it's a lot of work. I know there's a lot of moving parts, but that's a
No.
critical element for us.
I appreciate every comment you made. And my wife's a teacher, so I definitely, realize what they go through and they want to get into the classroom early. I know that. And that's the purpose of the sequencing there. So our plan is try to give areas as much early as possible and do it in a sequential manner for the administration to allow teachers in the areas as we complete. Okay. So, yeah, you might see the 12th. That might mean the next, a week later, the area is cleaned, ready to go, and then the teachers will be able to go in there. So we are working with administration as far as allowing early entry into certain areas. Okay. And we'll make sure the pathway is safe for the entry.
Thank you.
Anyone else related to the construction project?
Yes. I apologize. I'm gonna have some questions for you guys. Andrew, you weren't here this morning?
No, I was here.
So we did discuss the roof and the leak.
In this area.
That traveled to the cafeteria.
Oh, so I'm sorry, I was unaware that it made its way from,
That's
I
what,
heard. I'm
that's
sorry.
what
Yeah,
was
I'm sorry.
determined. I
Yeah.
believe that all the water in the cafeteria is from the leak in the roof.
okay. I'm sorry, I missed that part and that's
So I
my
did,
apologies.
I did go on the roof with Mr. Cordes after we got done. And I was up on that roof. I saw all the curbs that were put in. I truly do not believe we had a leak on that roof since it was put in 4 years ago. So that is a new leak. And if I have this right, is it Dunmore Roofing come out and circled a bunch of?
Yeah, so
marks up
Mr.
there?
Cordis and we were a part of that, had reached out to Dunmore Roofing to come out and look at that.
So your roof is only, I think, 4 years old on this building.
Correct.
So we did reach out, Mr. Cordes is reaching out to the manufacturer. I think you're past your installation warranty with the subcontractor. So they're going through the proper channels to get some repairs done that they've noticed that need to be done. And I think that was done through the investigation.
Yeah, I believe it, according to Mr. Cordes, it's under warranty, and when he contacted the insurance, they were going to send someone else in that wouldn't get here till Thursday, and Mr. Cordis proactively said Dunmore's here, could we use them? And they okayed them.
Right. Oh, that's great. That's
Mhm.
great. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Dunmore is a approved installer for many root systems, so.
They did
yeah.
third out.
I think what I'm
And they
getting
did
at,
Third Avenue for the district this year, so.
what I'm
Yeah.
getting at is there was no leaks prior to the work being done on that roof. So were those leaks caused by all the work being done on that roof? There's a lot of curbs put in up there.
Is the leak as a result of the curbs being put in?
I don't believe the leak is at the curbs. or
It's not at the
whatever.
curb,
And
it's everywhere else, but all
No, and if it's our fault, we would take care of it. Dunmore was the installer of the curbs. And, you know, if there's a leak because we slit the roof because of walking across it, installing equipment, we would take care of that. Okay. I think this was, what I understood was flashing issues that broke. That we wouldn't have any, you know, we wouldn't be breaking a seal on that. Let's put it that way.
And then the structural supports for the rooftop units that was kind of skimmed over. Are we waiting for a report? Is that done, not done? Are we waiting for somebody to say that it's strong enough? I missed that this morning, I think.
Structural steel.
The structural steel frame is mostly going to be installed from the top side of the roof. And it's going to connect with pipes coming from the steel beams and supported on beams. That's the way we typically do it, so we don't have to get under the structure to support the beam, the structure. Okay, there are some areas that are still being designed. Most of the railing systems that you saw in the pictures are already done, and it's good to set the equipment on. Okay, there are certain areas where the design is still being worked on it because of the age of this building.
Okay, and there was also discussion about painting the hallways
Yeah.
before the ceiling went up, but I guess that's not happening. It
Well,
was,
it's not under contract. Mr. Camus had asked the me to go back and to get pricing for the board. We do have a price. We're waiting on another vendor to compare the numbers, okay? There is some painting in the contract for the classrooms, and that's where I was telling you about the wall. It may not be painted now, and it's a window wall where the unit ventilator was taken out. If we remove something and there's a hole in patching, we take care of that, okay? The classroom, or the corridors were never under contract, so that's what we're pricing out, okay? And that's something that can be done during the fall, during the evening hours, so it's not going to affect, you know, educational process.
so the painting of the corridors is tabled for now. We're not even discussing that. Is that?
We're way out of time, Mark. I mean, you can see where the building's at, where we're going here, so to throw another contract in.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to know where that stood.
Yeah.
And then related to this cleaning, is that all 3 floors or is that just one
That's
floor?
just one floor as an example. That's, we just wanted to show you the example of how we're sequencing it. And then the other floors will be other dates, you know, we just didn't.
So the
provide that.
soonest
Mr.
is
Mr.
August 12th is Monday. That's where we'll be
Mhm.
starting.
That's where you're gonna be starting, yeah. And Mr. Cordis does have this schedule for all 3 floors, okay? We did go over that with him
Yeah,
today.
that's what we went over with him today, but that's just an example. We can share this if you'd like, but it shows each area and a corresponding date for each floor. And Mr. Cordes was comfortable that with the sequencing of this, by the time, the 2nd floor was clean and they could move on, we would be turning over the 1st floor to them to get into that space.
Okay, and I did see the leak down in the weight room that you brought up this morning.
Yeah, and that's something we're taking care of. But yeah, I apologize. I missed the part about the roof leak in here.
Mr. Kubowski, I heard that at some point. That's why I said, I know I heard about the roof.
Yeah, so I apologize about that.
So, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not laughing at the situation. We'll have an answer for you on that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mark?
Are we gonna talk about the toilets under the buildings and grounds, or do you want to discuss
Well, we might
that?
as well just do it now, because we kind of let them have the floor and kind of just knock everything out now.
Okay. I did send the price to the board for toilets. Did everybody see that?
Yes.
So at the last two meetings, we talked, so everybody knows, I'm not sure, I guess you just gotta get in the walls of the behind each of the banks of toilets. So all the toilets have to be removed,
Yes.
and the cock was,
Yeah.
they're gonna get removed. And the old toilets put back in. So I suggested that if you're pulling, it's about 40 toilets, replace all the toilets and all the valves. That's a board decision. It's right around 225, and that's what tax, I don't think the district pays taxes, so. It's not even, that's including a stone valve, toilet, seat, and the toilet. If we reset those toilets and hook up those Sloan valves, we're gonna be chasing leaks with O-rings and diaphragms and everything else. That's just my suggestion from what I see. And I'd be surprised if you pull 40 toilets that you don't have, you're gonna have problems. So I just think it, yeah,
Yeah, it's not a bad suggestion. It's a matter, I want power engineering to be able to look at the valves that would be selected, that they're in agreement that they would fit, you know, and the toilet selected would fit.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, definitely have to be commercial toilets.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're Kohler and they're Sloan valves, so. Something I think we could talk about or should talk about.
Yeah, and I think what we can do is provide a timeline for when that decision must be made, because at some point, they're gonna put the existing back on.
Right, and the only thing that's gonna cost the district is the buying of the toilets.
Correct.
And if not, if we don't buy Sloan valves, then they put the older ones back on, but it's my recommendation, but.
So my question is, does that affect anything as far as our compliance with ADA or building code? Because now we're trying to put something new back that's not
All the toilets are ADA. compliant.
matching scope.
Yeah, I would say that if you probably buy the right toilet, and it goes back in, it's gonna be more compliant with ADA rather than just use the old ones. Yeah.
Correct. Did you have a chance to review the toilets that were
We-
priced?
Power engineering did, I don't have that information on my end, so.
Yeah.
So I can do that, or we can do that and give that to you in short order.
If you could make a recommendation to this board.
Yep.
At some point of how you would like to handle that.
What we might do is have Power come up with a model number, and make sure they're in agreement with everything. And then let you price it or at a local supply house.
Okay.
That's what you want to do? Or Mr. Flores could do that, yeah.
Anything else, Mark?
I'm good on it for now.
So, just Mark, that proposal you sent an email just to replace one toilet.
Right, so if you,
So all you're suggesting is instead of putting the old one in, they put a new toilet in.
new toilet and a
And
valve,
then for us, for a district, we'd be responsible for the cost of the toilet or whatever.
Yeah.
Dave, can you forward to them that email that, I don't know if they were on that list? Mark already went through the trouble of getting prices so we'll forward you that price list to see if that's compatible.
Right.
So Dave, if you could do that, make sure they have that email.
Yeah, just to be clear, the only cost that the district would bear would be the cost to supply the physical toilet.
Right.
And
That, yeah, and he actually has
accessories
valves
and
and
valves.
everything required to replace it. So we'll send you that proposal and you'd see if that fits in.
And disposal, correct?
I think it's a
Disposal.
starting point, that's all. If there's something else they spec, but it can't be much more than what that cost is.
Nothing else, Mark?
Not right now, I'm good, thank you.
Could we go to the asbestos, with the advertised visa, that change order that's
Yes.
coming in?
Yes.
Please.
So what you're seeing here is the cost for the asbestos pipe removal. So we through the original contract for this job, there was a $50,000 allowance for asbestos removal that was built into the contract because rightly, there was a recognition that this is a building that there was probably going to be some of those materials, while not presenting a danger, we were going to run into. Well, that occurred. The only way that this would have been found was when destruction of the pipe was found. So at that point, we received cost to get that remediated. That cost exceeded the $50,000 allowance. And so the cost you're seeing there is the balance above the 50,000. It does bear worth mentioning, to date, previously there had only been about $8,000, $4,600 of unforeseen asbestos containing materials or monitoring that we had to utilize that allowance for.
And that was at the request of the district to remove that other asbestos.
So how's that affect the final costs? Is it still 35,000?
That's correct.
That would take care of 18,000 lineal, or not 18,000, 1,800 lineal feet of asbestos pipe. And the reason we say it was unforeseen is that there was a pipe, there was asbestos insulation on it, and then it was covered with new insulation. So there was no way for us to tell that it was never on the asbestos reports we received, and it was never shown. Okay.
Anything else on the asbestos? Change order, it's item number 21 on our agenda. Moving on, could we now touch the roof at Dana Street?
Yes,
So we got that price.
yes.
Is there any way you could help us obtain at least one more price?
I can do that. I have reached out to people. It was just a matter of, timing. Okay.
So-
It's just been bad timing for people this summer and the workloads that they already have.
So the district really wants to get this done.
Yeah,
We're eager to try to get that roof,
yeah.
in good shape. But as part of our federal audits and as part of our state audit that we had, our procurement process needs to get a little bit better. We have to learn new practices. So if you could help us get
I can
another,
facilitate another bid. I just have to, give me a week for that.
absolutely.
We have the Dunmore bid.
We do have the Dunmore bid.
No, but I mean, we have it?
I can get it to you.
I'm pretty sure we do.
We do. They don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the
For
roofing?
Dana.
Yeah. for
Yeah.
Dana, Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was pretty certain we did,
No,
but
we handed that to Robert. You have.
I have.
yeah,
You have the Dunmore bid.
okay,
I do have it done one, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So
I
I
have-
can
I have-
get that.
I have a
Please.
question about that, if I may. You have a figure up there that obviously came from some calculation, right?
Robert has the
That's-
breakdown for the
that's
35,108.
Yeah, I know.
For the asbestos. The other, the other is for the water infiltration.
I'm just talking about the asbestos right now. Do you bid out that information to other vendors for,
We had two prices, one from PCS and then one from Sergeant, or not Sergeant, Forrester, that Power Engineering was using. It also, that price also includes the hygienist that has to be air monitoring the whole time outside the rooms or the containment areas. So that is a package price, okay, with both monitoring and the removal.
well, you did get two vendors that gave you that kind
Yeah,
of quote.
yes, and PCS was much higher, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
Whatever you think, I mean, you guys
Yeah,
know the information and you know what has to be done.
yeah, we try to get at least three numbers, especially when we're bidding a job, in order to get the best pricing, and be competitive. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else on that? And then just the last question I have, because we're getting close and I know you have a lot on your plate. The high school roof, have we ever closed that out?
We had, yeah. C&D waterproofing come back out, that was the original installer. And I believe it was determined that if a lot of leaks were actually window leaks, not roof leaks.
Yeah, that's correct.
What I.
Yeah.
is what I was told when the walkthrough happened. I think Mr. Cordes has it.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
If you want to revisit it.
No,
another time.
I know school's starting. We paid a lot of money to put the roof on. We paid a lot of money to put
It wasn't the roof, but it was more windows than it was everything.
regardless, the taxpayers put out a lot of money and
Yeah.
you go in there, there's ceiling tile missing and wet and stained, and it was very upsetting. Could you give us a brief overview of the water infiltration that you have listed there?
Yeah, so I'll start and then Barry, you can jump in, but so I think in maybe going back as far as April or May, there was an issue with ponding in the boiler room at Third Ave. So we were asked to put a design together. So we have a plumbing and electrical design that includes three new sump pumps that are installed throughout the mechanical equipment room. And then trench draining around the perimeter of that. The goal is to, and then the drains are piped to the sump pump. The goal is to get the water out from the foundation of the building. And so they're actually going to be pumped into or they're fed into the existing rainwater drains.
Well, I think when we did that one day when we walked through, Mr. Camus, we talked about, we're gonna connect all these sump pumps to, back to that storage room and then outlet it into the street or the parking lot.
Yes,
And it's gonna follow swale down to the inlet to your pump system.
yes.
And Mr. Kubuski has mentioned the pumps in the past, and that may need further investigation from our conversations at the client meetings, but, so we did a design for the interior to take it out to the swale area. Yeah.
Okay.
So the design is to pump the water from that basement back towards the railroad tracks. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah, that's,
Pump the water out of the room. towards
Yeah,
the railroad tracks.
it's basically gonna go into the corner where I think it's the coal storage.
Yes.
It's a room in the back, I think. it
By the
was for
generator.
Coal storage, okay. And then in that corner, of the building where it goes into the wings, we're gonna pump the water out into there. There's a pipe that leads from the rainwater gutters that goes out to the end of the building, and then it falls across the pavement to the swale. That's what we're gonna connect into. Because we're not allowed to put it into the sanitary.
correct.
So it's actually gonna go into the storm sewer, because your present one, and it's allowed, is going into sanitary line, it's connected there. Okay,
The only question, maybe I'm totally off base with this. I see what you're proposing there. Do we know where the leak is, and did we try to seal the foundation or the pavement in order to prevent the leak?
yeah, I had excessive talks with Barry, the janitorial staff at the facility. And a lot of the leaks are coming up through the perimeter walls as well as in the crack system that are in the floor. I truly believe that if you seal those cracks, it's gonna find another route because of the extensive water pressure that's underneath that area.
So you're saying the water table is very high.
I think there's a groundwater pressure, hydrostatic pressure that's gonna blow somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
So that you're 262, 646.
Yes.
That would not be covered under a GISA project, correct?
No, it would be, yes,
It would be covered under our 15% rule.
It would?
Yeah.
yes.
Is this something that this board would like to entertain?
I'm not in favor, not at this. I think we got too much going on. And I think we need to investigate into those existing pumps out in the front. I don't know if this is the right solution.
So
And
the pump out front is new, you know that, right?
I know, and we keep replacing them. And as I, sent the board, we have the opportunity to look into that piping and see where it goes with a camera. If we're only sending that water from the basement to that area, we may just be overloading that even more. We don't know where that piping goes, if it goes anywhere. And that,
I'm sure, they know where it goes. I mean,
nobody knows where it goes.
I'm sure A&E knows where it goes. I'm sure we have it on file somewhere. I would guarantee it.
Well, I think we need to look into that before we look into this cost.
Well, I mean, with all due respect, Mark, I kind of disagree. I mean, we just put what, $100,000 or $1 million into our brand new boiler systems that the water company paid for. Now we don't want $262,000 to dewater our things that we might potentially flood out the brand new boilers we just put in.
This leak has been going on for 20+ years, according to Mr. Cordes this morning. So
Brains
it's-
are a lot higher too.
Can I ask a quick question?
Certainly, absolutely.
Gentlemen, so there's a water issue in the basement. I'm gonna break it down simple for a layman like me. We have, you can either stop it
Correct.
or we can move it. We can move it out when it occurs. It sounds like this is to move it out because there's no guarantee we could stop it given what's underneath.
Said it'll
That
find
said-
other ways to get in, then. That's what you said,
They'll
so.
find another-
That said, I don't want to, nobody wants to load up your plate with more, but is the timing right to do this now? Or is it something that is okay to hold off on?
It won't affect the middle school project because it's a different trade. The trades that are on site now are more electrical, you know, and the electric portion of that is very small, haven't always sized for this anyway. The plumbing portion is, we don't have that much plumbing on this project right now, that it won't affect. The reason that we were trying to push for this month is that we want to get the noise done for the saw cutting of the slab, renewal of the slab, and then everything will be quiet, that we can be in that room during the day if needed, okay? So the noise level is what I'm trying to get done before school starts.
Okay, so your recommendation is that the timing is right to do it now, not put it off.
I'm just going for that. If not, then you have to wait till, you know, like Christmas break to do the demo. You know, then your chances, you know, having good staff if needed.
Sorry, you're supposed to get a ton of rain.
Sir, I'm no groundwater expert, but would you recommend it to do this project? I mean, as what, I mean, you think it's something we should do?
Yes.
That's all I need. That's perfect.
You know,
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tosh, would you add this infiltration to the agenda for next week? And just do it by vote? The entire amendment, it'd be the entire amendment, but we would be separating, oh, actually, no. The entire amendment.
Because it is all these.
Yeah, and we can
So. Oh, yeah, right, yep.
and we can provide a copy of the contract prior to that for Attorney Messinger to review.
I don't know if this is a good question or just we go ahead and do this infiltration as you propose. Can we still look to see what's happening with that pipe and pumps that are also in the building now?
So at I think it was 2 client meetings prior, you know, I offered to, if the district has information on the pumps that they want us to look at, I'll have our engineers look at that. You know, I did ask if the district wants, you know, the pipe from the pumps to outside scope. That I went for district to do, you know, that's the only discussion we had, you know, I think 2 client meetings ago.
Thank you.
I passed that information on, Barry, to everybody on the board. So, as far as getting it scoped, but I guess we're not going that way.
I could give you the company that supplied the pump to the district, I think it was last year. I have his number. I could share with you.
If Mr. Cordes has any of the data for the existing pumps, we can try to take a look at that. And I think Mr. Dixon said that they were just brand new ones put in.
There was. I want to say it was last fall. If I'm not mistaken. All right, anything else, gentlemen?
No.
And thank you for removing our 2x4s
Yes.
that have been there for 5 years.
Hopefully you like the entryway to the building. That fence is now being held up by concrete and not 2x4.
Thank you very, 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 very much.
If I walk into that meeting, there's that, it's not fixed.
Yes, this meeting would not have went the same way. I promise you that.
The last thing I would, if I can take a second just to close with is, I have had conversations, as I know some have had as well, with Representative Coffer. And we have reached out to Senator Baker to get letters of support for the district's grant application that was submitted for Dana Street. So at this point, we have been told that awards may happen in September. I think that may be an aggressive timeline. I believe they'll happen pre-election, so November. So we are obviously, looking to get our local legislators' support so that, they can elevate this in Harrisburg. So
That's awesome. I reached out to them as well, so.
Yeah.
Trying to get all.
and if anybody on the board would like to send a letter in or anything like that, we have sample draft letters of things like this in the past that I'd be happy to share. So
You could send it to me.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, very, very much. Moving on, Mr. Dabaskis, athletics.
No updates at this time.
Thank you.
We'll wait till next week.
Mr. Keating,
Nothing tonight, Mr. Camus.
thank you. Mr. McGinley,
Well, obviously, we're getting ready for the start of the school year and there's a lot of busy time. I do have concerns about the buildings and I'm hopeful that these gentlemen made a nice presentation this evening. But we have a lot of work to do and I hope we're able to accomplish that before September 4th is the official school day, but at least a week before. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. McGinley. Mr. Hardwick,
I'm gonna hold reports till next week, sir.
thank goodness. We're moved right through that. Oh, no, as we moved right through committee reports, not you. It's nothing against you. Mr. Dickman's not here. At least I don't see him. Nice. General recommended action items. Does anybody have any questions on 1 through 27?
Number 19,
Sorry?
number 19.
Thanks, buddy.
19.
We're just gonna table that for next week.
Okay.
Until we get another price. Right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, good.
And we're not voting on anything, so if we have something
Correct.
for next week, we'll put it on the agenda.
Absolutely. Staff recommended action.
You know,
item.
I just wanted to mention something to point out is that tax, we get these reassessments for properties and so we have a 3-year or 4-year of $112,000 that we have to return back because the property was reassessed. I think it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but that's money we already spent and now we got to give back for
Absolutely.
reassessment. So anyway, just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Any questions on staff recommended action items 1 through 12? Mr. Kuchar, do you have anything you would like to add this evening?
I have nothing to add at this time.
Go around the board or go around the table. Mr. Dabaskis, anything?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Mrs. Cassatt?
I'm good, thanks.
Mr. Keating?
Nothing this evening. Thanks, Rick.
Mr. Hardwick?
Site log, the activity, it's exciting. I'm excited with everything going on here. I think it's great.
Absolutely. Mr. Wilson?
I have nothing, Mr. Camus. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Markey?
Yes. Do we have an update on the tree removal from the high school? The
Mark,
upper
could you
parking?
speak into your microphone? I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you down here.
Is there an update on the removal of the tree at the high school that we approved last year's budget at the end? What would be behind the gym? It hasn't been removed yet. Can we look into that?
I'll talk to Mr. Cordes about it. Yeah, I thought that was done.
I thought that was done too.
I
No.
did too.
And then is there any way we could do something with the paint supplies at Durkee Street now that there's a lot going on, getting ready for school? I believe there's 20-some pallets of paper coming.
I thought Mr. Cordes had that handled. I thought, when I talked to him last
Still there.
few weeks ago, I thought he had it handled.
There was discussion about a donation or a contribution
Yep,
or doing
yep,
something
absolutely.
like that with it.
I think all those avenues have been exhausted. From- They asked everybody in the district, out of the district, but
We reached out to a lot of
Yeah.
different places.
Anything else?
one last thing.
I said one last thing, right?
Yeah, one last thing. Could we get Mr. Cordes to look at doing something for the State Street playgrounds there? Well, him and I had talked, there's no mulch. I know he's mulching the other schools and it looks really nice, but there's a lot of mulch missing around those playgrounds there. And it was missing last year, but
I mean, I won't speak for Mr. Cordes, but I think he's a little overwhelmed. I guess he could mulch it though. I mean, or we could hire a landscaper.
well, I see that we've been getting mulch for all the schools, but I'm talking the playgrounds where the kids are playing.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think we should probably ask him to either see if I don't think he has the resources, but if with all of this, that's gonna be thrown at him pretty quick. Maybe if he can get us a couple prices, just have somebody put in.
Has it been mulched in the past? Is it something he's not doing?
It's been mulched in the past, it just deteriorates, and maybe there's another option, so we don't have to keep mulching it. But there's all around, one of the playgrounds, when I was there last year, there's a 2 to 3 inch drop off from the sidewalk into there. So it's not only, no mulch, but it's a tripping hazard too.
Have you been there recently or no?
I was there today.
Oh, and it's not, so it's.
I didn't look at the playgrounds, I looked at the front, but I think those bills are for the buildings. I don't know if it's for there. There's no reception in that building. I did try and call them, but
That's hard.
that building doesn't have reception.
That's pretty concerning
The reception?
for another time, I guess. But
That's it.
anything else, Mr. Kubuski?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Mr. McGinley, do you have anything?
Not really, except I would hope, I know we're getting very close to the start of the year. The staffing, are we staffed correctly and fully? I know it's a struggle anymore, but I would hope that we can make sure we have everybody in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinley. Just real quick, Mrs. Bull sent everyone, an email about West Side Career and Technology Center, for the Articles of Agreement. If anybody has any additional comments they would like to add to that, please get it to her. All right. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
That's why I'm.
Second.